The morning sun cast long shadows across the barn as Elena and Thomas worked side by side, their movements synchronized after months of shared labor. The discovery of the hidden room and its treasures had changed everything, yet somehow nothing felt different in these quiet moments. Thomas still rose before dawn, still checked on the animals with the same gentle care, still treated her with the patient kindness that had slowly worn down her defenses. "The lawyer should arrive today," Elena said, pausing to wipe sweat from her brow. They had sent word to the county seat 3 days ago, requesting someone to help them understand the legal implications of their discovery. Thomas nodded, his attention focused on repairing a broken fence post. "Whatever comes of it, we'll face it together." The simple certainty in his voice made her chest tighten with an emotion she was still learning to name. Love had crept up on her so gradually that she couldn't pinpoint the exact moment it had taken root. Perhaps it was the night he'd held her during a thunderstorm, or the morning she'd found him singing softly to a sick calf, or the countless small kindnesses that revealed the depth of his character. A cloud of dust on the horizon announced the lawyer's arrival. Elena smoothed her skirts, suddenly nervous. The documents they'd found suggested the previous owner had been involved in something significant, possibly illegal. What if their discovery brought unwanted attention or worse, legal troubles? The lawyer, a thin man named Garrett Mills, dismounted his horse with obvious relief. After brief introductions, they led him to the house where the documents waited spread across the kitchen table. Mills examined each paper with meticulous care, his eyebrows rising higher with each revelation. Finally, he sat back, removing his spectacles to clean them slowly. "This is quite remarkable," he said. "These documents detail a substantial inheritance that was never claimed. According to these records, the previous owner of this property, Jonathan Hartwell, was the sole heir to his uncle's shipping fortune in Boston." Elena's hand found Thomas's under the table. "What does that mean for us?" "Well, legally, since Hartwell died without heirs and the inheritance was never claimed, and since you now own the property where these documents were hidden," Mills paused, consulting his notes, "you have a strong legal claim to pursue this inheritance." Thomas leaned forward. "How much are we discussing?" "Based on these shipping manifests and bank statements, I'd estimate the unclaimed estate to be worth approximately $15,000. The number hung in the air like smoke from a snuffed candle. Elena felt dizzy. $15,000 was more money than she'd ever imagined existing in one place. "Of course, there will be legal fees, investigations to verify the claims, and it could take months to resolve," Mills continued. "But the documentation appears authentic, and your claim as current property owners is solid." After Mills departed with promises to begin the legal proceedings, Elena and Thomas sat in stunned silence. The kitchen seemed smaller somehow, as if the magnitude of their discovery had compressed the space around them. "We could leave," Elena whispered finally. "We could go anywhere, do anything." Thomas was quiet for so long she thought he hadn't heard her. When he finally spoke, his voice was careful, measured. "Is that what you want? To leave?" The question pierced through her shock, cutting straight to the heart of everything that had changed between them. Months ago, she would have answered without hesitation. Freedom had been her only desire, escape her singular goal. Now she looked around the kitchen where she'd learned to cook Thomas's favorite meals, at the window where she watched for his return each evening, at the table where they'd shared countless conversations that had slowly transformed from polite exchanges to intimate revelations. "I don't know," she admitted. 3 months ago I thought I knew exactly what I wanted, but now—" Thomas reached for her hand, his calloused fingers gentle against her palm. "Money doesn't have to change anything. We could use it to improve the farm, help our neighbors, maybe travel sometimes, but always come home." Home. The word settled around her like a warm shawl. When had this place become home? When had Thomas's dreams become intertwined with her own? "My father forced me to marry you because he thought it was a punishment," she said softly. "He wanted to break my spirit, make me regret my rebellious nature." Thomas's jaw tightened at the mention of her father, but he remained silent. He never imagined that losing everything I thought I wanted would help me discover what I actually needed. She turned to face him fully. You saved me, Thomas. Not from poverty or hardship, but from a life without purpose, without real love. The kiss they shared tasted of promise and possibility, of a future they would build together regardless of the money that fate had dropped into their lives. Outside, storm clouds gathered on the horizon, but Elena no longer feared the thunder.